On this week's episode, we are talking about the NFL trade deadline and all of the movement and action that took place. And NBA season has officially started. And did James Harden finally find his home? And somebody got fired. It's time for a win is a win, y'all. Let's go.
It's time for the Rookie Rundown.
Welcome back, y'all. Welcome back. Well, week 8 is in the books, and we are going to get right into it. But before we do, like, subscribe, and share this podcast. And don't forget to tell somebody else to subscribe and join. A win is a win. And up there at the top, don't forget your notification bell and get the necessary notifications. Now, let's talk about these rookies. Well, Will Levi. No way not to mention what the rookie QB did against the Falcons defense. Playing for injured Tannehill, Levi didn't waste his first NFL start, throwing for 238 yards through the air with 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. The Titans took the W, of course, and if he keeps playing like this, well, the Titans' future looks a whole lot brighter. Josh Downs. Yes, the wide receiver, no doubt, started the year off slow. Now, he's starting to make some noise through the O-line. After battling the snaps with Pittman and Pierce, he's had back-to-back great games. He's put up 125 yards, a touchdown, followed that with 7 receptions for another 72 yards in the next. Super high ceiling potential for Downs. Keeping on high potential, Jordan Addison. Yes, the Vikings stood out tremendously in absence of Jefferson. The wide receiver racked up 82 yards and a touchdown against the Packers. And hold on, let's not forget his monstrous game a week prior against the Niners. Cannot forget about Jordan Addison. He is stepping up. He is doing what he needs to do. Shout out to all the rookies across the league who are showing up and showing out and understanding the assignment. Campus Gridiron up next.
Let's see what's up with our Campus Gridiron.
Big noon kickoff is set, and this week we are headed to Austin, Texas. That's right. The Longhorns will take on the Wildcats at 0K Royal Texas Memorial Stadium. Wow, that is a mouthful. Texas is 7-1 this season, ranked at number 7, averaging 34.5 points, and the Wildcats is 6-2, and they've re-entered ranked at 25, but today they are ranked at 23, averaging 37.4 points. And in my opinion, this will be a potential shootout. Pay attention to this game. Taking Texas on this one, straight up money line. Buffaloes. That's right. Colorado Buffaloes were robbed in their loss to UCLA. The gridiron and the O-line are just pieces of a messy puzzle for the Buffs. After a 28-16 loss to UCLA, Deion Sanders Jr. broke the story that the away locker room was raided during the game. Now, Deion Sr. called out the Rose Bowl committee to reimburse the players, and UCLA issued a statement stating their cooperation with Pasadena police. That's unfortunate for that ball club. And no matter what, you may say about the flashiness and, the overzealous purchases that probably have gone on and some that we've seen for ourselves and the attention, no one deserves to be robbed. Let's shoot over here to that big Heisman pose. Who's in the running for that trophy? Let's get into the top 5. So first up, we have Penix Jr. for Washington. Now he's at 369 passing yards with a completion rate of 56.8. Second up, we have Daniels out of LSU, who's at 279 passing yards at a 73.3 completion rate. Third up, Marvelous Marv. That's right. Ohio State, Harrison Jr., 123 receiving yards with 6 receptions. Fourth up, we have Jordan Travis from Florida State, 359 passing yards with a completion rate of 62.9%. Fifth up, we have Bo Nix completing the top 5. Yes, he's one of the Ducks from Oregon. 248 passing yards with a 77.4 completion rate. Run this list up against November's schedule and the conference title. The head-to-head competition will for sure have your head spinning. Oh, it's going to be crazy. Sports news coming up next. Join me on DraftKings. Go to Dr. T23.site. That is DRT23.site. Go ahead and click Join Me on DraftKings and get your $200 bonus bet. When you bet $5 instantly on DraftKings Sportsbook money lines, totals, and same game parlays. DraftKings has the action.
Let's get into the sports news.
Can't go into any sports news, without talking about those Raiders. The team had a horrible, abysmal showing on Monday Night Football against the Lions. QB Jimmy G looked horrible, completely horrible. Wide receiver Devontae Adams pitched his helmet, pissed off and frustrated. On top of that, team lost by double digits to fall to 3-5. After that, the team fired both their head coach and the GM. Now, according to Mark Davis, he said that they were just going in the wrong direction. I believe that we all could see that. I mean, a blind man could see that. Garoppolo has since been benched, rightfully so, in favor of rookie Aiden O'Connell, and Adams wasn't traded at the deadline, although there was heavy speculation that he would be. So, family, where do the Raiders go from here? Because I have no clue. Raiders continuously have drama, continuously have productivity issues and, problems in the front office and owners not making smart decisions and poor management, mismanagement. So, family, where do the Raiders go from here? Somebody might also want to tell the Washington Commanders and Ron Rivera that trading away your entire pass rush isn't exactly a good idea. Washington has been competitive throughout this year, though they are still stuck with a losing record. Now, at the trade deadline, they embraced it and shipped away 2 edge rushers, Sweat and Young. Now, when asked about the move, Rivera said that this is an opportunity to see what else we have, but they've already had some great talents at those positions. Come on, Ron. It's going to be interesting to see how bad their pass rush struggles will be next few weeks as they adjust. It'll also be weird seeing Chase Young suit up for the 49ers and Sweat gearing up for the Chicago Bears. Now, as for some other trade deadline news, the Vikings added Joshua Dobbs. Of course, he was let go from the Cardinals, and rightfully so. After Kirk Cousins went down with an injury, which we'll talk about a little bit later. The Seattle Seahawks added defensive lineman Leonard Williams from the New York Giants in exchange for a second-round pick. The Eagles, said, "You thought we were playing, Dallas." Okay, Mr. Jerry Jones, we got you. We want to let you know that we're going back to the Super Bowl. And they added former All-Pro safety Kevin Byard while giving up Terrell Edmonds and a couple of draft picks. The Bills added Rasul Douglas while giving the Green Bay Packers third-round pick. Overall, it was a slow trade deadline this year, very uneventful, but not without a lot of drama. Some teams didn't move at all. For whatever reason, they didn't want to. Injury report coming up next.
Who's hurt? Who's ready to go? Time for the injury report.
Vikings fans got some devastating news when it was announced Kirk Cousins tore his Achilles in the win over the Packers this weekend. This injury ruled him out for the remainder of the season, a year when he was playing incredibly well. On top of that, this is also his final year of his contract. Not only will it be hard for him to get the payday that he was earning, but it'll be hard for suitors to line up for him given the injury and his age. It's a brutal blow for both him and the Vikings team. So hope they can figure it out with Dobbs. Unfortunately, another QB fell victim to an injury this past week. This time, it was Matthew Stafford for the Rams. Stafford suffered a UCL sprain in his right thumb and is now considered to be a day-to-day heading into the weekend. The injury looked bad on replay with his thumb getting stuck in an opposing player's helmet as he released the football. It was beyond cringe worthy. I mean, even in my line of work, and you see a lot of injuries that in live replay. However, he did return to action and has yet to be ruled out for this upcoming game. Now, we should mention the Atlanta Falcons a bit here, just a little bit. Now, Desmond Ridder was pulled from the game in what appeared to be a benching in favor of Taylor Heineke. Now, if I'm saying that wrong, somebody please correct me. I struggle with that last name. Although some reports were stating that Ridder was pulled due to him getting checked for a concussion, and obviously the team being down didn't help his case for a return. What's interesting is that Heineke was ruled the starting QB for this weekend also. Now, let's just stop and I'm going to rewind in my mind, and something inside of me is saying somebody lying, which means Ridder either concussed or has been benched due to poor play. It's an interesting situation with the Falcons, but either way, he's not playing. Betmasters, my favorite segment, is coming up next. Hold on. I know. You were like, what is going on? What happened to sounding off with Tiff? Well, here we go. For the love of the game of football, can we please get rid of the referees? Now, I just have to get this off my chest. I mean, really, they just plain, flat out ruin the game. Look up who's officiating the games, and based off of that, you can decide who will win. Sure, now, diehard fans like myself know Ed Hotchuli and Mike Carey. Those are about the only two I can even stand to listen to. There's so many unfair plays, biased judgment, and flat out ridiculous calling that listen. I cannot take it anymore. This goes really for all sports, not just football. Don't even get me started on the NBA. We'll get to that. But this isn't just some haterade or some hate mail. No, this is a something has to be done right now with the NFL in particular. Officials and referees are simply ruining the sport. And seriously, there has not been one answer from the NFL. Roger Goodell just sits there like, I hear y'all. We know what's going on, but we have no answers. But in order to find that answer, we must first isolate the main problems with the referees today. Let's start here. These are IMOs, in my opinions. The number of refs on the playing field. There are 7, yes, 7 officials on the football field at one time. Now that's just plain ridiculous. And respectfully, you can read their independent roles on your own time. More officials equals, say it with me, more penalties. And most of these penalties are quote unquote make-up calls or completely out of the blue penalties that will be shortly followed up with another make-up call. Here's my opinion or my suggestion. Eliminate the line judge. The head linesman doesn't need an assistant. Make the referee the same thing as the umpire. The umpire doesn't do much, and his responsibilities could easily be handled by the referee. Here we go with the other one. The penalties themselves are flawed. There are over 100 penalties that can be called in both the NFL and college football combined, most of which are actually just twisted versions of other penalties. And half of those penalties are so generic, no wonder the referees screw it up every time. Listen to some of these. Hold on. Wait a minute, family. Wait a minute. Listen to these. Illegal shift, illegal motion, illegal move. Aren't these all the same thing? Failure to pause at least 1 second after shift or huddle is another one that's just ridiculous, as well as helping the runner and any player who removes his helmet after a play while on the field. Helping the runner. Come on, are you serious? You can't be serious. I'm tired. I'm tired of it. It has gotten out of hand. It is for no reason. People can't even understand why these calls are made up. If you go back to what game was that where Joshua Allen was called for interference by the defensive lineman? It was some weird, and it took 58 minutes to figure out that call was not correct. I mean, the rules that I find most abused that get called way too much are roughing the passer and illegal contact. Roughing the passer is called way too often by officials in both pro and college. Now, if a defender flat out takes down the QB after he throws the ball, then most definitely make the call. All too often, the players are getting called on this when they are blocked into the quarterback, fall unintentionally into the quarterback, or hit him after starting to fall before the ball was thrown. My Lord. Illegal contact calls bring back huge touchdowns, fourth down conversions, and change the game overall constantly. I mean, define illegal contact. Define it. The rule is so generic that is no wonder referees botch the call. Here's my suggestion for that. Reduce the amount of rules. Let the players play, for God's sake. By combining some repetitive rules and flat out eliminating others, the world of football would be much better and a much happier place. Similarly, make the rules more descriptive. Leave no question as to what the rule actually means. Bottom line, the referees are too involved in the game.
It's a bet. Time for Bet Masters.
One matchup this week is between my Cleveland Browns. And if you listen to this podcast enough, yes, I am a Cleveland girl living in Arizona. And it won't be the most entertaining game. But if you're looking to put some chalupas on a team, go with my Brownies. Even with Deshaun Watson's bum shoulder, or if it even is his shoulder, who knows at this point? We still have PJ Walker, and he's been solid enough to win games, so we have a viable backup. And let's not forget about our defense. Meanwhile, the Cards are 1-7, and don't forget they lost Joshua Dobbs in the trade. This means that Tune will start under center, or Murray will make his return after missing about a year. Regardless, Cleveland should hound the Cardinals' offense and take the W. Now, family, I can be wrong sometimes, but this season, my record is about 8-1. Yeah, but I was wrong on the Panthers this past week against the Texans. Now, it's going to be hard to see them winning again, but the Colts are only 3-5, though their run game is a bit ferocious. They have consistently scored a ton of points on offense while having two great running backs that interchanged. Now, the Panthers are not very good at defending the ground attack. We know that. But if the run game gets going for the Colts early, this game could be as good as over. Now, let's get into the games of the week. The anticipation has built up, and yes, the stage is set. And where are we? Well, we're going to be a couple places, so let's start here. We're going to go across the Atlantic over to Germany, where those Chiefs and the Dolphins are going to face off. Now, who are you going to go for? What relationship do you like better? Tua and Hill or Mahomes and Kelsey? What team are you taking to bring the W back across the Atlantic stateside? Well, I'm going to take the Dolphins to bring that chip back to the States, more so than I am going to pick the Chiefs. Why? Well, we know they have offensive problems right now, and Mahomes has no one down the stretch that he can rely on to catch the balls except for Kelsey. And I know the Chiefs fans are praying that somehow, some way, Taylor Swift will be in the building. But I'm going to say the Dolphins will adjust to the temperature change, although they don't play well in cold weather, and bring the W back. Let's go out to the Natty. Yes, Burrow and Josh Allen. Well, I'm going to take Macaulay Culkin. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. I mean, I'm going to take Burrow over Josh Allen. Why? To me, Allen hasn't figured out who he is yet. He hasn't figured out who he's playing with. Listen, the Bills haven't figured out who they are. Okay? Plain and simple. I know the game is going to be very emotional with the return of D Ham back to the same playing field where he experienced his commotio cordis attack. And I know this is going to be heavy on both sides of the field. But I do believe that D Ham is going to come out there and put his best foot forward. That being said, I'm taking the Bengals with the W. And it's very hard for me to say that because I am a Cleveland Browns fan. Biggest game of the week. Yes. Cowboys have saddled up and rode their horses right on into the city of brotherly love. Why? Because the matchup of the year, the talk of Dak and Jalen has finally come to fruition. Who has the best team? Who is the best quarterback? It is time to put up and finally shut up. This is the biggest divisional rival of the year so far. Dak is, by statistics, 8-2 against the Eagles. However, they have been super inconsistent. All right, Dallas fans who listen. All right, you opened up the season, you beat the Giants, then you beat the Patriots, you turn around and you beat the Chargers. Come on, guys. You got handed an L by the 49ers. You were supposed to beat them, and then you're bragging about a win over the Chargers. Knock it off. And then you get beat by 1-7 Arizona Cardinals. Stop it. Put up or shut up. Now I still have to give it to the Eagles because Jalen Hurts is not the Jalen Hurts that we saw last year. Something is off. Something is not right. Don't know what it is. Is he playing hurt? Has that brotherly shove or tush push hurt him in the last game? Well, you saw him get up at the conference and he had zero answers for the questions that were asked of him when he was asked if he was hurt. He laughed it off. And so we don't know, but I do know that their offense has not played well either. But so who's your relationship in this game? Do you trust Dak and CD, or are you going with Hurts and Brown? I'm taking the Eagles. And you know what? At first, I trusted Dallas to take this game, but they have to prove it. They just have to go out and prove the consistency. And right now, I just can't trust the Cowboys against top tier teams. Again, prove it. And this should be and could be their time. And if you take the L, Dallas, and you don't show up, CD, I don't want to hear about it. You wear 88 for a reason. Okay? Micah Parsons, show up. Pressure. Okay? I don't want to hear about it if you take the L. And if you take the W and you're firing all cylinders like you did last week, all right. Dak, you got to move around just like you did last week. If you go in and you act like a cowgirl and get your skirt pulled up, then I have nothing else to say. I'm jumping ship. I'd roll with the 7-1 Eagles on that. Are you searching for some new NFL gear? Well, go to DrT23.site. That is DRT23.site. Click the NFL shop link there. Enter your code NFL30 to get 30% off of your purchase. Let's get back to the show. finally, to wrap up this week's episode, we can finally talk about some NBA news. Yes, since the season has begun, we have finally gotten through the James Harden drama. My goodness, he has finally exited the 76ers and returned home to LA to join the Clippers. Now he's partnered up with Leonard, George, and Westbrook to see if he can get a chip in South LA. Now, interesting to see what Ty Lue can put together with this loaded roster. Now, along with that, we've seen Lillard mesh well with Bucks Giannis, and Drew Holiday had a massive impact on the Boston Celtics, who at this point remain undefeated. The NBA in-season tournament is getting underway now, so the level of competition should continue to get off the hook. Now, let's talk briefly, and we'll go into more detail in our NBA recap segment, but let's talk a little bit about all of the hype about Victor Wembanyama. Now, I watched him during the mini series, I guess. Can I say this, family? I've not seen or in not this early in the season where you have a team plays on Monday, 2 days later in the same city, play again. Very odd to see Phoenix and San Antonio play 2 days apart in the same city. However, Wembanyama did not come for games. Yes, he showed up in the fourth quarter and he showed out. He wanted to make a statement, and that was his statement game. However, couple of things. One, he's 19. Two, he is not already going to be classified, in my opinion, as potentially the greatest basketball player of all times. Yes, he can shoot outside. Yes, he can post up. Yes, he can block. Yes, he has a mid-range jumper. He does just about what he wants. It's like he takes a combination of every player that he studies and executes it on the court. But is he better than Wilt? Better than Kareem? Jordan? Kobe? Shaquille? LeBron? I could continue. But it seems that we are so quick to impose a title, an assignment, if you will, on players when they show up and they have a good game. Yes, he has a wingspan that is incredible. Yes, his game is immaculate. But allow him to have growing pains, because of 38 points and 10 assists don't happen every night. It doesn't. It's like a new pair of shoes. When you put it on for the first 20 minutes, it feels good. The next 20 minutes, something hurts. Why? Because you have to allow the shoe to break itself in. That's going to do it for A Win is a Win. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to this podcast, and tell someone to tell somebody else. Get your notifications up there at the bell, and we'll see you guys next week.